sometimes we might want to write programs and ask user for input. Okay, in that situation we can use this input function. Okay, so input function have this format where a variable x equals input, and you give some prompt telling that user he have to enter a certain input. Okay, so the value user input will be stored in the variable. For example, think you have to get the radius of a circle from a user. Okay, you will go radius equal input, enter the radius. Okay, here I put some space here to make it nicer, and also you have to give the prompt in between quotation marks. Okay, so here if I run this command, it will ask to enter the value for the radius. If I enter 5, it will store 5 in the radius. Okay, this is very useful when you run a program and you want to ask user for an input. If we are expecting a character input, the second argument has to be given. So here this s tells, let me here equal sign. Okay, this s is telling that we are expecting a character input. Okay, so it is asking to enter as a character. So if I enter a letter, it will store the letter as a character. Okay, that's why it's stored between quotation signs. Okay, because it's stored as a character. Also we can passing a string, that is sequence of characters. For example, we can give like this: name input, enter your name. And user can enter their name. It will be stored as a string. Okay, let's say we are expecting a number as an input, and if user enters a character, MATLAB will produce an error and it will ask again for a number. Okay, enter the radius, so I can enter 5. Okay, but if there's a variable from that letter, MATLAB will accept that letter. For example, let's say I have this variable and I go here. Okay, and I enter T. MATLAB will accept the input. Okay, also if you enter it inside quotation marks, MATLAB will accept and store the results as a character. Okay, because it doesn't know that we are expecting a number. Okay, so if we want to get a string, we can avoid the s, that second character s, and give it if user knows to enter it as a string. Okay, display command, we can use the display command and output values without assigning it into a variable. For example, if I want to output a string, I can go hello world, and a string is given between quotes, and I can say display. It will display the hello world command. Also I can go some result of a calculation. Without assigning into a variable. Okay, 27. Then we have the fprintf command where we can display formatted output. Here fprintf function, we have a string and this is called a control character. It says here we are going to include a variable of decimal integers. Okay, so that variable value is given here as square root 4. Square root is the square root function of MATLAB. Okay, so it will print principal square root of 4 is 2. Okay, so here the percentage d is replaced by the value here we give in the variable. Okay, here instead of a variable I gave square root 4. I could give a variable name there. Okay, for example I can say t equals sqrt 4 and then I can say here instead of 4 I can include 3. Okay, then it will say principal square root of 4 is 2. So if it's a decimal variable, here I put d and if it's a floating point number with this like 5.3 or 5.4, we use f, and if it's a single character letter we use c. If it's a string I use s. Okay, for example I can store my name here in a variable I use semicolon, it will not print it. I can go fprintf and print s here, and I close the quotes. Here I use quotes, and here I'll go, instead of this I'll put name. Okay, variable name. Now if I do this, it will print my name is Nadika. Advantage of here is if I change the name to, let's say, Alex, if I run the code again, this time it will print my name is Alex. So whatever it's in the variable, it will substitute for this string. Okay, also you can include a calculation here, like I do this with square root 4. Okay, here I include the calculation. Okay, up to now we entered all the commands in MATLAB command window. Okay, this is fine if we are entering that commands go by one line or two lines. Okay, but if several lines have to work together, it's better to write them as a MATLAB script. Okay, so to write a MATLAB script, here go to new script file and enter here. Okay, and then here we can write the commands. Okay, so I will write a small script that asks for ABC of a quadratic equation and solve the equation using the quadratic formula. Okay, so I will say A Okay, strings you can use single quote or double quotes. Okay, and then I will say for B equals C equals Okay, now I solve this one. I will say x1 equals, I need to divide everything by 2. Yes, so I say minus b. First I will do the plus sqrt of b squared minus four star A star C. Okay, and everything I have to divide by 2 star A. Okay, don't forget these stars. Okay, now I will say x2 equals same thing with a minus sign, no? Okay, so I'll copy and paste this. here minus sign. Okay, then I will output my solution. I will say here I will use semicolon because I don't want these intermediate lines to be printed unless I want to, so I will use semicolons here. Here I will say print f x is equals to percentage is a decimal number, so I will use maybe answer is decimal. I will write this, or x is equal to percentage f. Okay, so here first I will print the x2 value, the negative one goes with the negative answer, and then I print the x1 value. Okay, executing this program I have to save this one, so I will save it. Okay, because I am using this online one, I will use online drive. Here you can use a folder you can remember. Okay, so instead of untitled M, I will say quadratic. Okay, it will automatically add the extension M. Okay, and I will save it. Okay, so here you can see this quadratic appears, and I can run the program. So it will ask for A. Okay, if let's say A is 2, I will solve the equation 2x squared plus 5x minus 1. So I will say A2. I will say A is 2, B is I say 6x squared, 6x, and let's say C is 1. Okay, there is error. Okay, sorry, I forgot, I said fprintf. Okay, there is, I should have said fprintf. There is also one more important thing. This is an interpreter. Okay, so it executes line by line. Okay, so again let's run this. So it's running the MATLAB file quadratic. So my A is 2, I enter 2, B is 6, C is 1. Okay, so it's printed the two solutions. Okay, accidentally I printed 2 here, that's why it said the answer 2. Okay, sorry, this 2 should not be there. Okay, so that is how it will work. Okay, it's a small script file. I'll clear the screen here. Okay, I'll run it again. So I will say A here is 2, B here is 6, C here is 1. Okay, equals or here. Okay, and if we want to check the program, we can run something we already know, run with something we know the solution. Enter A, will go A1, B5, and C6. No, so we should get -3 and -2. Okay, so this is a small script file. When you create the script file, somewhere you can find it later and remember the name. Okay, if you are using the online version, we can only store it on this MATLAB drive. Okay, but when you come back it will be there. Okay, so the things to learn here: save the code, this file, and run it using this icon. Okay, run it using this icon, and then these are the commands. Okay, I use semicolon so it won't show these values, intermediate values. Okay, and here see I had two control strings 2f and then two variables. It plugging them in order, so x2 is plugging to this one and x1 is plugging to this one.